Hi, thank you for joining me for Pick a Card. And again, I've got 3 packs of tarot. So the first pack, we've got a piece of, ooh, I dropped it, piece of lepidolite. Then the second pack, I've got a nice piece of blue light agate. And on the third pack, I've got a nice piece of garnet. So take a look, see which one you're drawn to. Are you drawn to the lepidolite, the blue light agate, or the garnet? So it's 1, 2, 3. Okay, so just move these over here. Now I've already shuffled these cards up, make it a bit quicker, so I'm just going to pick one from deck number 1. So people who went for the lepidolite. Okay, this is your card. This is from the Barbara Walker Tarot, and this is the 8 of Cups. Okay, so you can just see that there. Alright, so you can see there's a person quite upset. There's a willow tree. The willow tree is normally for sorrow. It normally represents sorrow. And then you've got all those cups lying down, going into that pool. The water is emotions. And what we've got here is that individual there. I mean, you can see he's got the goat's legs. I forgot what they call them now. It's not a centaur. A centaur is half horse. Satyr. He's a satyr. And then you can see the willow tree hanging over him, and that's she's the wood nymph in the tree. And at the top there, you've got loss. So for people who picked this particular card, then looks like you're going through a bit of a rough time at the moment. So you may well have lost someone, or you may have someone that's possibly ill in the family, and these things are happening everywhere at the moment, aren't they? With what's going on with the coronavirus and the vaccines and all this crazy stuff that's been going on since last year, or since the beginning of last year. So it may not even be recently that you could have lost someone. It could have been a few months ago. And the willow tree there is trying to offer you protection. It can be hard. It can be very difficult to get over a loss, especially when it's somebody really close to you, somebody you've spent a lot of years with, or even a child as well. Can be very, very difficult. But it's sort of saying, well, you've got to get that grief out, let it out. Don't be afraid to let it out. You have got protection. I mean, in this card, you've got that tree that's offering protection over the satyr. Get out into nature and go and have a walk in nature. Nature always lifts you up. And nature has trees and plants and things. They have a link straight to source. So as soon as you walk out into a park or somewhere where there's trees and plants, it can uplift you straight away because they have that link to source. That's why trees grow so high, because they're going back into the heavens. So get out into nature. That'll help you if you are suffering like that. Also, if you're suffering from depression, anxiety, these lockdowns are causing so much stress with people's mental health, and people aren't seeing their families. They feel so alone. If you've got the internet, get on the internet. There's lots and lots of groups where you can speak to people, lots of like-minded people who do Zoom meetings. You can Skype people. You can get in touch if you've got a mobile phone. You can do it on there. Zoom and Skype are free. You don't need to pay anything. If you go onto some of the social media platforms, you've got Facebook, you've got Parler, of course you've got YouTube, Twitter, you've got Gab, BitChute, Brand New Tube, all these places. You'll often find people on there who not only can give you information about any hobbies or interests that you have, but they often do Zoom meetings as well and speak to people, so you can still keep in touch with other people that way as well. So you don't need to be alone. But if you don't have any access to the internet or to mobile phones where you can get on the internet, go for a walk, go into nature, find out where your nearest park is, or even just walk up the street, especially if there's trees in the street. Or sit in your garden. Try and sit in your garden for 10 minutes each day. You know, obviously if it's cold, take a coat, even a blanket if you want. Keep a blanket downstairs, so if you're going to sit outside, take a blanket with you when it's cold. But try and get outside if you can. Try and be at one with nature, and just to allow the life that's in everything, the life that's around us, to lift you up a little bit. I think we all need that at times. And this card as well, it's telling me to well, it's sort of pointing out as well, you've got the tree roots there, so this is going down into the roots into people's history, heritage. And this is telling me, for those of you who pick this card, to have a look at your roots, your heritage, do a little bit of research. You might find that quite interesting as well, on your family tree, for instance. Let's have a look where that takes you. There's often some surprising things in the family tree. And I know I've got a member of my family that was doing it, and she found family members that she didn't know have spread out all over the world, like distant cousins and things like that, which was really interesting. And she also went to visit quite a few of them as well, which she enjoyed. So she's got quite a few tales to tell us. So yeah, have a look at your family tree if that's something that interests you. Go down into the roots, see how far you can go. So that's card number 1. Those of you who had a link to that card, an attraction to the lepidolite. So card number 2 was the blue lace. Now card number 2, this is from the Witch's deck. This is from Llewellyn, and it's also by Ellen Cannon Reid, this one. There's quite a lot of tarot decks called the Witch's Tarot, quite a lot, so you can get confused with them. Now this is the 8 of Swords, and it's a bit of it's not really a nice card, but it's more of a what's in your head card than anything else. And again, this is people who went for this card. It's also a card indicating stress, anxiety, possibly loss as well. But you can see here, this person, it's exactly the same person, split into 4. Now this is often what happens in your head when you're stressed out, when you're depressed, when you're anxious. Now if you look at that person, he's got swords in his hand, he's trying to fight something off, he's ready for action. He's split himself into 4 to fight something off. He's angry, he's looks like he wants to kill. There could be enraged. Looks like he's moving quite quickly with that card as well. So the people who went for this card, maybe there is something that's upset you or angered you recently. Maybe you do need to calm down and let go of that stress. Sometimes we can make things out to be far worse than what they are. Our mind does that to us. But also, if you're listening to social media, if it's something to do in the country that's made you angry, or something that's been going on in the country, just switch off social media, don't listen to it, because that's also fear mongering and it makes things out to be far worse than what they are. So let it go. But yeah, when we get stressed out about something, as I say, we can often make things out to be far worse than what they are. And the red that that person's wearing in the card, that is anger, that is rage, um, that is energy, but it's all directed into the wrong thing with all those swords that that person's holding. When we get angry, we often do things that we don't want to do, we wouldn't normally do. We often say things that we wouldn't normally say. We act in ways that we wouldn't normally act in. And anger can just build up and build up and build up. And we can carry it with us for years and years. So it's best to let it go. Just release it. Just tell the universe to take it and ask the universe to deal with it. The colours in the background, the yellow at the bottom, the yellow is often pointing to a link to the divine when it's in tarot. The red, as I say, in the middle, the red is your energy, your rage, and the blue is recovery, calm, peace. And look at that, the blue's on the top. And there's a reason the blue's on the top, because when you let go of anger, when you let go of stress, and you just go with the flow, it brings peace, and it brings recovery, it brings calmness, and then you'll find that things are easier to deal with, far easier to deal with. You'll find that things are not as bad as what you thought at first. Now, if you look down here at this person's way, the person standing, you've got one leg on the floor and one leg at the back there. So he's not exactly grounded because one leg is on the floor, but also it's just his toes that are on the floor, isn't it? And the other leg in the air. So he needs to ground himself. By grounding yourself, you can get back to reality. And you can ground yourself by going into nature, going into your garden. You can ground yourself with the use of various crystals. The black crystals, tourmaline, black obsidian, and also red crystals, red jasper for instance, they are all grounding, and brown crystals as well, all grounding. So they can help. And if you haven't got a garden or if you haven't got crystals, just take your shoes and socks off, put your feet on the floor in the living room, and just imagine, or just close your eyes and just imagine that you've got roots going through yourself and going through your feet into the floor, and that can also help you ground. And also, if you are feeling like this, if you are feeling stressed and anxious and angry about anything, wear yellow. Yellow is the colour of the sun. As I say, in the cards it's a link to the divine, but wear yellow, link to the sun, it'll make you feel a lot better. It'll perk you up, brings the sunshine into your life, and it'll help you let go as well. So try that. but that is basically a card of self-infliction. It's something that anger and stress and that is something that we inflict on ourselves when we don't need it. We can let it go. Yeah, there are some things in life that we can't change, especially if we've lost someone. That's one of those things. When your time has come, your time has come, and unfortunately, we have to accept that powers that be will take people from us at times. If it's somebody close to you that's gone, it's their time. There's nothing we can do about it. We have to accept it. But death is not the end. It is a change of life. It's not the end. They're still there. So if you have experienced that, don't worry too much about it. They are still there. Okay, so that's card number 2 for the people who picked the blue lace. And it's quite interesting to see as well. Blue lace is a stone that calms and soothes. It's like a baby blue colour. Very calming, soothing stone. And for this card to come out, that is very apt. So if you've got some blue lace, just carry that around with you as well. That will also help you calm. Okay, so we come to the third pack. So this is the garnet. So if you're attracted to the garnet, got that rich red colour. That's lovely. Now this pack is the ancient Egyptian pack. And the card we've got here is the Six of Discs. If you can just see that. Okay, so that woman there is basically dancing. She's quite happy. So for the people who picked this one, it's quite a nice card. The 6 is often something being given to you, and you're celebrating a gift, a talent. And if you look at the images behind the woman, these images here are the sun. You've got the horns and the sun, like what's called a solar disc. They're all holding the sun on their head. As I mentioned before, the sun is very important. It gives us vitamin D, and that helps us keep well. And doctors, scientists have actually said that vitamin D is more important than what they actually thought before. So you've got the solar discs there. So this is for somebody who's in good health. These people who went for this particular card, you've got a lot of good food there. You've got a lot of nice things there. Now, generally speaking, these people who went for this particular card are in good health. And they eat well, they drink well. And I'm not talking about drinking well in alcohol. I'm talking about water and herbal teas, things like that that are good for you. Expect good news, because the Six of Discs often brings in a gift. It can be money at times. Yeah, so some people may get a lottery win, or a windfall in some other way. Maybe you get a check that you weren't expecting, or maybe you've been trying to sell a house that has not gone through. Expect that to go through soon, and things like that. That could be a house in the background. It's like a pyramid with the top cut off. So if you're, as I say, if you have been trying to sell a house recently, that will go through. Looks pretty good for the people who went for this card. So it's good news on selling things that you wanted to get rid of, house, car, furniture, anything like that that you've not been able to get rid of with this card. Expect that to start going through. As I say, expect some good news, because it's a bit of It can be a bit of a windfall with this one. But it's not just money, it's also a physical thing. So if you have been to the doctors recently about an illness, expect some good news on that. If you were expecting bad news, it may not be as bad as what you were expecting. And that woman in the card, this is, she's celebrating, she's dancing, she's fit and healthy, and she's even doing a bit of a ballet pirouette there. And naked, she's quite happy with who she is. She's celebrating. She's let's say very happy, very at one with herself. She's quite happy to be naked. She's not ashamed. She knows she's fit and healthy, so why not? And I would say as well with this card, people who pick this card also expect good news about work or career and that type of thing, because this is also a card showing that your talents have been recognised and are going to be put to use. So it's almost like you've maybe done something, a project, or maybe shown somebody a CV, or shown somebody a piece of art that you've done, something like that, and they have taken it on board and are now showing you some respect and showing you that your work is worth something and that your talents can go further. So expect that as well for anybody who picked this card. Also physically, as I said before, fit and healthy, but also people who pick this card are likely to be people who exercise regularly, people who like to get out and walkers, people who get out into nature, people who often went to the gym as well would be coming up with this card. Not able to go to the gym at the moment, unfortunately, are we, with lockdown. But yeah, this card is telling you also carry on looking after yourself. Your body's a temple. Fill it with good food, fill it with good drink, beneficial, nothing full of poisons. Get rid of all the crap stuff with all the poisons, the pesticides, and all the really horrible stuff that's in it. Try and buy organic if you can. Make sure it's not genetically modified, and go for healthy, unprocessed stuff, natural. They actually say that it's healthier for you to eat raw food, because when we cook vegetables and things, it actually produces what you call it, like a mucus that that lines our stomach, and this mucus can actually make you look as if you put on weight when you actually haven't. It's this mucus, it can actually swell your body so much, but it can also cause a lot of other problems as well. So when you eat raw food, like your salads and stuff like that, when you eat raw food, it can actually catch hold of this mucus as it's passing through your body, and it can take it out the other side. It takes a while to obviously clean up a lot of it out if you've been eating cooked food for a long time, but it does help. And again, plenty of information about stuff like that on the internet, and you can have a look at that. So that's card number 3 for the people who picked that one. And as I say, that's the ancient Egyptian deck. But thank you for joining me. Let me know what you think of the readings and what you think of the decks as well. And if you want to view the decks, if you have a look at some of my other videos, some of the decks are already on there, some of them aren't. But if you subscribe, then you will get to be notified as to when the deck is on there, and you can have a look at it at each one. So thank you for joining me, and everybody take care. Hope you're doing well, and I'll see you next time. Bye.